Hey guys, it's lukemick here, and this is my review for Two Guns. So, Two Guns was a movie that I really wasn't excited for. I do really like Mark Wahlberg and Denzel Washington, but it did kind of look like just a big, dumb summer action movie. And that's kind of what it was, so, I'll just talk about the plot a little bit. Basically, you have Mark Wahlberg, who is like a Navy SEAL, and Denzel Washington, who is a DEA agent, and for whatever reason, their bosses tell them to steal money from a bank, and they don't know that they're both kind of work for the U.S. government. They think they're both criminals, so they steal the money, and they fight back and forth, and it was the CIA's money, and the Navy is trying to kill the CIA while the Mexican cartel comes in, and if I'm not explaining it well, it's because the movie is not just well written. Like, that's the biggest problem with the movie, is that it's just a muddled, sticky, goopy mess of a script, and not necessarily a script, but just the story is just a mess. That is definitely the biggest problem with this movie. There's just a bunch of random stuff happening and you don't know why. You never really understand why any of it's happening, and it just is not, it's not put together well at all, and you're just sort of there to watch them, just do their thing. The story is really bad. It's one of the worst constructed stories I've seen in a long time, and I kind of expected that because by the trailer I could not tell what was going on, and while watching the movie it was really hard to figure out what was happening too. So, story, really bad. Performances. Obviously Mark Wahlberg and Denzel Washington are really good. They work really well together and they're really fun to watch on screen. It looked like they're having a good time, and they're definitely the best performers in the movie. We also have Bill Paxton. I'm not quite familiar with all of his work. He plays one of the villains in the movie, and he's kind of a cartoony villain, but he's fun to watch. You don't really know a lot about him, and he doesn't get a ton of screen time. You also have Paula Patton, and she wasn't really given a lot, I don't think, with the script, but she just didn't have a very great performance, in my opinion. Her character just wasn't really anything special, and neither was her performance. And then the last performer or actor I'm going to talk about is James Marsden, Scott, whatever the hell his name is, from X-Men. He is the worst. He just doesn't really get a lot of screen time, and his character, you don't know what he's doing, really. His character is just awful, and you can tell he just doesn't have a lot to work with, and he barely has any screen time, and he was just uninteresting, and he just wasn't very good in the movie. So really, the only people that you're really going to see is Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg. They are the stars of the movie, and they're the ones you're there to see. Like, you don't go there to see the movie for a great story or for side characters. It's just about them, and you really don't know a lot about them with their character development. So let's talk about the direction and cinematography. For the most part, it's just kind of bland and uninspired. It's nothing really that special. There are some good scenes in the movie that are directed pretty well, but for the most part, it's just your sort of typical action movie. There are some pretty good action sequences here that I really thought were entertaining. There is some shakier camera. It's not really that bad, but I think it could have been done in a bit better fashion. And overall, I thought the movie was entertaining for the most part. I wasn't really bored with it. It does run at almost about 2 hours, and during those 2 hours, since the story is so bad, nothing important feels like it's really happening, but you're watching it and you're having a fun time watching Denzel and Mark sort of banter back and forth. So overall, the movie isn't that great. I mean, it's good, it's enjoyable, it's entertaining, there's some good action, and Mark Wahlberg and Denzel Washington are just top-notch in this movie. They're really fun to watch. So overall, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars. This is lukemick signing off. Please subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later.